Well, now we are going to check in with Karina once again, who is still getting organized, something that I think just about all of us could have a little help doing.
We all have skeletons in our closet, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay, not skeletons, but really old food and Cheetos and things like that. We are reorganizing a pantry today with my good friend, Vicki Norris, who helped us restore order to this pantry. We have a before picture of some of the issues that this family was dealing with. What were some of the problems that they had?
Well, really common organizing issues in the pantry here. We had stuff on the floor, the crock pot next to the Cheetos. We had things
there were no
stashed.
zones. There were no categories.
That's right. No categories going on. People were just putting things where they fit. And this is very common. If you don't know what to do with it, you often just stash it on a shelf and hope that you'll get to it. But then that was leading to layering, and then they didn't know what they had. They didn't know when to buy new stuff.
Right, which leads to waste. But thankfully, Vicki Norris came, worked her magic, and we have the after picture now. The serenity of it all. Vicki, where did you start?
Well, it's like a designer space now. I have to give credit to Alice, our consultant who worked on this project. And obviously the thing that we did first was we got everything out of the space. As you know, it's really hard to organize when you're in the space and just kind of piecemealing. So we got everything out. And first we determined items that were most frequently used. And we learned that this homeowner really does use those paper goods. Everywhere from the plastic utensils to paper plates were used for lunches and for after-school snacks. So we actually created a zone just for that here on the bottom shelf.
Great.
Of course, you can also see beverages on the floor here. So we did containerize that.
So then we will have the only principle. So only paper goods go on that shelf.
Only paper goods and lunch prep and picnic here.
Okay.
Then we have a breakfast shelf. And I love this because now the bread has its own little bin. I have a basket actually for my bread as well. And the kids now who are 11 and 13 can help themselves to breakfast cereal. The great thing about having a breakfast zone now is now you can see we're getting a little low on syrup. So we know when to buy it.
Right. And you don't overbuy and end up with 6 of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now we have a snack shelf.
And I love what you did with the snack shelf.
Well, actually, this was the homeowner's idea. I can't take credit for this, but
it's great.
I love how all the healthy snacks are easy to reach in.
Yeah.
And even protein bars, but if you want a cookie,
you got to work for it.
You got to work for it. You got to get in here and get a cookie out of the stacking bin. So I think that's a neat idea if you have kids that are getting into too much. But again, self-management for your children.
Moving up, the zones get a little smaller.
Yeah, zone's a little smaller. We have kind of a hot beverages here. I love this bin. This is actually an acrylic shoe bin.
No kidding.
That Alice used for tea, storing tea for the homeowner. Then we have our sauces, and look at this cool little Lazy Susan that we used here for oils and vinegars, and it just makes good use of sort of that dead space in the corners
that
so that you can
you
see
wouldn't
what you
get
have.
to.
Right. Okay, so now we're up here to serving pieces. So often people stack them in kitchens, dining rooms, and pantries, and that causes damage to the plates because you're stacking these heavy items, you're trying to yank things out, and it breaks them. And so we don't want to do that. So going up to the top, we put the least frequently used items at the top, but then we continued our serving piece shelf all the way around, so now we have vases and things we can use on the table.
And they're nicely displayed.
Nicely displayed. They actually did put contact paper and painted the space as well. But of course, everyone needs the carb zone.
Oh, yeah. Snacks and carbs.
We've got, our rices and pastas and our fruits. And you can see we use these bleachered separators here for canned goods. And I love this because then you can actually see how much tomato paste you have, how much sloppy joes.
Sure.
You can see that we've got 3 cream of mushrooms. We don't need to buy that anytime soon.
Okay.
But we've got a little extra space for chicken stock, which she's out of right now. She knows she needs to buy. A whole baking section. And then, of course, those overflow appliances. Where do you put those things that they really are just too bulky to fit anywhere else? They take up too much space in the kitchen, too.
Fantastic. Okay, so as you are looking at the whole space, you can see that each area has a space of its own, the only principle.
We created the zones.
Right.
That's really important in pantries. Also, you want to avoid layering. Now, she has a lot going on for her because these shelves are narrow. And with deep shelves, it's really hard because you tend to layer even more.
Or if somebody doesn't have a walk-in and they have the reach-in.
That's what I have. I have a very deep shelf. It's kind of a dark, cavernous space, so you got to use those bins to containerize things even smaller. Labeling is very important.
Yeah.
And then you won't overbuy if you have these zones and you've containerized.
You can cut down on waste. Well, Vicki Norris, great tips. Let's put up your information. If you at home would like to have Vicki Norris come and work her magic in your pantry or any space that needs a little help, a little organization, you can call her. And we will link your website to our website at katu.com.